All right, everybody, have a seat. We're getting ready to start the second half here. Hope everyone was able to grab a little snack or just enjoy a little time with all of our exhibitors. And have you all enjoyed the education so far? Amazing. So the second half is really just as good as the first half. And I'm excited about this next discussion. You know, our largest employers here in Effingham are our school system, our county, our health system. And then we have also a gentleman here from Southern Motor Springfield, a GM. And he's here as a large employer too. They have 3 individual showrooms and service centers. And I'm real excited to introduce you to him and tell you a little bit about what our next section is. And it's on human resources, company culture, and building accessibility for our employees. We have our moderator, and I'm excited to introduce you to Ms. Christy Brackin, will be our moderator today. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and some of our panel. As I talk and introduce you, I'd like you to come on up and have a seat. Christy is a seasoned HR professional, having 23 years of human resource management experience. Christy obtained her senior professional in human resource by the Human Resource Certification Institute in 2009 and was certified as a senior certified professional, or you might have heard of SHRM, SCP, by the Society of Human Resource Management in 2015. Holding both certifications through 2018. Christy was the HRCI certification chair for the Mississippi State Council of SHRM from 2011 to 2013, promoting HRCI HR professional certifications throughout the state. In other words, helping other people become HR specialists and SHRM certified. Throughout Christy's career, she has remained focused on doing the right thing in business by building and coaching employees, managers, and executives in every aspect of people management. Christy is married to April, and they have 4 daughters. A 28-year-old, can't believe that. A 17-year-old that's graduated, correct? Yeah. And next Friday. And a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, as well as 1 8-year-old granddaughter, 1 grandson who just turned 3. Christy and April love spending time at the beach, but I didn't know that. Christy's a pilot. She likes to fly airplanes. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. Our next panelist is Mr. Scott Downer. Scott, will you come up front? Scott's the GM, or General Manager of Southern Motor Springfield. He's a very highly respected business leader, a seasoned speaker. At 17 years old, Scott had an accident that placed him in a life-changing medical diagnosis. He is very independent, a professional that shows his employees and others through his I Can leadership style and the focus of the ability before disability attitude and lifestyle. He is married, is a father, and he lives in Effingham County. Thank you so much for being here. We also have Ms. Tracy Kieffer. She's with the Effingham County Board of Education. She's currently Human Resource Coordinator. She has her BFA at the University of Georgia, her Master's of Education at GSU, Leadership Certification at the University of Georgia. She's has her Education Specialist degree, or her EDS, at Lincoln Memorial University. Since 1990 to present day, Tracy has dedicated her leadership and professional career to the education of our Effingham County community children. Our next speaker is my good friend, Ms. Sarah Mausolf. Sarah is the Director of Human Resources and Risk Management with Effingham County Board of Commissioners. She also is a 2022 graduate of Leadership Effingham. She's a wife, a mother, and loves serving her community and others. And of course, we also have, and we talked about her earlier, Miss Heather Smith, to join and make sure she has her part in this, because this panel has some really nice questions, and please. Heather is, again, the Operations Manager, Program Manager, and friend. Heather has worked with B&B Care Services since 2019, so we're going to put her back up on this stage here. Now remember, this is a panel discussion, which means that Mr. Henry Walker, if you have a question, when she asks the questions, if you want to respond to that, raise your hand, and Henry will be glad to bring the mic to you. Thank you all so much. It's your floor.
All right. I'm going to try to make it to where everyone can hear me, but if I'm too loud, just let me know. Give me a hand signal or something. Okay. All right, so good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you guys to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion this morning and talk more about people with disabilities and how we can be inclusive as a community with our neighbors, with the folks that we work with. And so we're going to get started. I'm going to ask some questions, and some folks on our panel, if you will be so kind, if there's a question you want to speak to, just go ahead and answer that for us. And then if the audience would like to participate as well, if you have a good experience, a good example of what we're talking about that you'd like to share, that's also very welcome. So we'll get started. First question, how can diversity, equity, and inclusion be a priority for organizations that have bigger issues to deal with? And you know, you guys know we have bigger issues to deal with, or we think they're bigger. We have staffing shortages, we have training and development issues. So there are lots of things that are going on, but why? Why is DEI a priority? Why should it be? In this day and age. And Tracy, you want to take that?
We have so many people that can bring certain things to the table, no matter what your abilities, and whether it's instruction support like Michael, whether it's nutritional services, there's just a gamut of things that we need people for. Every day, I'm one of the folks that goes through all the applications in our department, and I also deal with certification. So I think, and I'm also a mother of a child that was born with Down syndrome. So I have a kind of an insight to what's he going to do one day. So I think with Project Search, that's a good training program. And I intend for him to be a part of that as a parent. And I think daily, if we don't include these individuals that have all the different abilities, then we're losing out, because one of the young men that I work with at the board office, he just lends so much to my day, and he keeps me on track, because usually my desk area looks like a train wreck. Keep things a little organized around our office. So, he probably looks at me and thinks, oh my goodness, what in the world? But I just think that if we don't include them in the workplace, then we're losing out. And I think that's very important to have everybody come to the table with their abilities.
Very good. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm Sarah. I'm actually with the Effingham County Board of Commissioners. So
In all her vehicles ready. I think we called her a rainbow because we're involved too.
And she's a regular because she's one of Adam's friends. She coming to get it? She in a car? Yeah. Where's she in?
Top priority for Mr. Clarence, and we want to continue that mission. I love that you started out south, and I know that now it's also gone to Effingham High for Navigators team, and that's just great. And we like to see that just so that, again, we're representing also our citizens, our constituents, this county as a whole, just everybody with various abilities. And so you can't go wrong, I don't think, when you have everybody in the same room, working for the same goal and making this a better community.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I think if we take companies like Edwards Interiors, that are leading by example, you mentioned that, right now, yes, we are having a problem staffing our like my dealership, we have a hard time finding help all the time in different areas. So if we pull from these programs, that'll help, resolve that issue as well. So, I clap Edwards Interiors for doing that. It's great. I mean, they fulfilled a position that they had by, someone with a disability. So I think if we all look into those programs like I've seen today, it'll make a huge difference.
Absolutely, good point. It actually can do the opposite and help us with the staffing shortages, is what Scott was saying. So if we tap into those resources, we've got the people there, so why not tap into that? If they're ready, they're willing, and they're able to do the work, why not? Why not give them a chance? Okay, next question. How can we locate and identify children and support those who may have a disability in Effingham County? Ashley? Oh, great, great, great.
I'm Ashley Hunter, I'm the Special Education Director for the school system, and that is the question that I recommended. So one of my roles as a Special Education Director is making sure our district is compliant with all of the federal and the state regulations to support students with disabilities. And one of those rules is that we are charged with finding the students in our district who may have a disability and then planning a plan to support them. So you guys may be familiar with Babies Can't Wait. And that's a federal program, and in our state, we serve those babies who are 0 to 3, Babies Can't Wait. But once a child reaches the age of 3, it's the responsibility of the school district to provide those services. But sometimes a baby who's 0 to 22 hasn't been identified. So we're charged with finding those students, offering intervention, planning a plan to make them successful, particularly when they get to high school, which really helps with utilizing the workforce. The individualized plan for a student in high school, our main charge is preparing those kids for life after high school, preparing them for work, and to be as independent as possible. And that's through a transition plan in the IEP. Some of you guys may be familiar with that, but that's my job, essentially. Keep us compliant, make our kids successful, find them and help them.
That's fantastic. That's a great program. That's a great program, and it certainly seems like it is benefiting the community. So I can't wait to see what you guys do for large scale. All right. How important is it to have leadership buy-in to ensure your diversity, equity, and inclusion is successful in your organization?
I'll say that it's extremely important. Most of us lead by example. Some of us follow an example. And so it's so important for your leadership to kind of set the tone. You'd be surprised at how many employers want me to come in just to do a training because they don't even know where to start to make sure that their employees are going to be inclusive. And I think it's so great that they do that because they're trying to set the tone and they want to help that person that's coming into their workforce be successful. So yeah, it's extremely important that your leadership demonstrates and sets that tone and makes a welcoming atmosphere for people to be inclusive and helpful. And I'll say, Edwards is a great employer. I actually had the opportunity yesterday to job coach at Aerodynamics, and there wasn't any leadership there at the moment, but they did get to work with their supervisor the 2 days before when I was there, and the whole staff was so welcoming and so helpful. They made it a point to ask me how they could approach the individual, how they could talk to him, what his name was, and just encourage him and wanted to let him know he was part of the team. So for longevity and for them to feel welcome, it's just so important.
Right. And usually the top leaders are the decision makers. So they're going to be the ones that tell you yes or no to the aspects of your program. So, in my opinion, I think in my experience, I've been over 25 years and working in human resources with business managers in various industries. And if you don't have that leadership buy-in at that top level, you're not going to be able to make that impact. So sitting down, having a talk with your leaders in your area of businesses or in whatever you're doing, sitting down, having a conversation, an open conversation with those leaders and forming what benefits could we gain by being more inclusive and by partnering with businesses that tailor to people with disabilities and aid and assist in that. So you don't have that top level, I'm with you, you know, it's almost impossible to get a real true program in place, especially one that will make a difference and a positive impact on your organization if you don't have that leadership on it. So that's from my personal experience. So if you need help in talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, give us a call. We'll come talk to management for you. We know the importance of it.
Let's begin from the government side. Our county commissioners recently, a new resident, someone who moved up here from Florida, she has a child with a disability, and she was asking about more recreation programs, different services available down there. Someone mentioned it earlier, you know, we might not know everything, so we can't be everywhere, we can't see everything, but if there is something that you see, a need, a want, a desire, bring it to a meeting. We're open to that. We'd love, I know that I just spoke to Faith Equestrian, because there's been a need for that. Someone has asked the county and recreation. We would love to have more playgrounds like the one we have at Clarence Morgan, so every child has the opportunity to play. So it is on our minds. We are thinking of it and we're trying, but again, if y'all see something, hear something, call us. I just had a call yesterday from a gentleman. His daughter was playing ball, and he wanted to talk about 3 of our ballparks in the county. 2 were the county, 1 was city of Rincon, but just, you know, him having trouble, wheelchair access, the bathroom doors being hard to close and open, the locks not kind of being handicap friendly. So we're gonna work on that from our side, but again, my maintenance guys might not think of that every day because they're not actually on that level and having to close the door while sitting in a wheelchair. So we are trying to work on it. So if you know something, just please tell them. We have an open door policy. We'll take those calls. We want to hear from our community and we want to make it better. It's an opportunity for us.
Question or comment?
A board that could be included, so people with disabilities can be on the board to let you know that things should be taken place.
Did you guys hear? Can you repeat that?
With people with disabilities, having a board of people with disabilities, so they could be of help to implement these things.
Sorry. No, that is a great idea and suggestion. Thank you. I will approach the commissioners. I'm sure they wouldn't mind getting a committee together because, again, that would be great feedback and insight that maybe not all of us have. So I'll bring that up. Thank you. After this, if I could get your contact info. Thank you.
Another question?
Yes, ma'am. I know one need that I feel like is in the community is transportation for individuals that maybe can go to work, and that's one of the barriers that they're facing. Unfortunately, we're not in a big city with, you know, great subways and transit, so that might be something that we can consider, you know, to help these individuals out. And Ms. Smith, can you talk about job development, like in the community? What can we do in regards to job development?
Yes, ma'am.
What we
Yeah, what's up? Haven't heard from you in forever.
Those, like as a community, how can we support that, even if we may be a business that doesn't have a position, you know, to hire right now? What could we do?
Right, so I always like to encourage you, if you are a business.
Right by your left knee, there's a picture of a car with 2 dotted lines.
You know, the supported employment program, because we're always looking for businesses that are going to give us an opportunity to do job development. And that does.
Picture right there with 2 dotted lines, and you should be able to. Oh, actually, no. On your car, it's up in the dash. Turn your right thumb until you see the picture of the green car on the screen, and you're going to see there's 3 different sections. And roll into it, and then click the one that's got the lane departure on it. Good morning.
Or having your leadership.
Yeah. Right thumb, you'll see the green thing pop up with all the different pictures on it, and scroll through until you find the one you want to turn off.
But we are just always looking for.
You got it.
the door and allow us to.
Yeah, I know. Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Aerodynamics.
Wow, that's quick. Well, what are you went up to the mountains, didn't you?
And things that people can actually get their hands on and different things they can do with those tools. But it could be as simple as,
Cool. All right, have a safe trip.
In eating, they're very hands-on, showing people how to organize things, inventory things, how to use their hand-eye coordination. I mean, it is vast. So even if you aren't sure, if you would just invite myself in, or Miss Molly or someone else from my team, we'd be happy to look around and say, hey, like somebody could come in here and they could probably learn something just being in this environment. So just tell your friends, and again, if you're a business owner, get with one of us because we'd love to explore some ideas with you.
I think the impact of these folks, from what I've seen today, I'm not everything I've been through life, very easily inspired person, but I'm very inspired by these stories today. I think the impact that these individuals coming in with disabilities will have on their employees at all their businesses would just be so impactful. They really help brighten your day, make you want to work harder, make you want to be a good example, and take these folks under your wing. And I just feel like I'm definitely at our dealership going to invite you to bring some folks in to watch us sell cars, whatever we can do. I just feel any of these folks I've seen today would be very impactful to my employees. So I think all business owners should definitely open up the idea to it.
Absolutely. Question? I just want to tag on to part of what Molly said, because I didn't hear anybody respond. When we get kids or individuals about their position, sometimes transportation is a major barrier because families themselves have their own jobs that they're trying to go to. They can't find themselves, they're getting themselves to and from work and then trying to get their child, adult child, to and from job. And normally, their job hours would not be as lengthy as their job is, so it's not like they can leave their job to go take them to work or home from work. So I definitely think that the community needs to look at supports to put in place so that when these things become available, that barrier no longer exists. And coastal coaches is spread so thin that they're there, but they're not always available. And when you've got somebody who's starting a new job, they need to be available on the days that they're required to work. So can we get some folks to start going to the table and looking and seeing if this is something that can be expanded more in the area?
And so since we're here and we're all just, a community of practice and thinking together, one thing we like to encourage too, natural resources. And so if you have employees that live in the same general area as someone, maybe they could offer them a ride to work. It's another opportunity for inclusion. Ms. Molly suggested she might know some retired gentlemen that would take rotation, taking some people to work, so we would start our own business. But transportation is our biggest barrier, but along the lines of thinking of natural supports, if you think of someone that could get you.
And I will say the county is working on a bunch of master plans. Transportation was one. I know that they've done a bunch of surveys. We had some public meetings, buses, public transportation system has been brought up. Obviously, we're just going to keep growing, right? There's no end in sight right now. Our roads are already full. We don't want, more traffic in Effingham. Nobody wants that, right? I will mention, if y'all would love to come, our commissioner meetings are the first and third Tuesdays of every month. You guys are welcome. They would love to hear your input. We need just more people speaking up help, so that they know that it is a need, you know, a want, and there is support for it in our community. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I do feel like Effingham County, in all aspects, is listening. Their ears are open and they're open to listening. And I'm not sure many people even know this, but we lead the way in disabilities because the state of Georgia is not very well known for offering services for people with disabilities. We're kind of behind the times, but we're working on that. We have some great legislators here that represent us. But our county is doing something, and not many people know, but we have something here that even the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta does not have. Mr. Clarence Morgan made sure when he built that ballpark that people that needed changing tables, adult changing tables, had access to it. We have in Effingham County not one, but 2 adult changing stations, one in the male and one in the female bathrooms. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium does not have not one adult changing station. So advocacy and education does help, because Mr. Clarence went to a study with us at Georgia Southern about things that people needed, and he called. I can remember him calling and asking people in the community to come meet with him and the city county manager when they were talking about that park. So in our Board of Education, we have a great leadership now. We have leadership that doesn't worry about calls. They say, do the right thing, you know, and that's what we need. And if people want to help, if you want to help people in this county and throughout the state of Georgia, maybe you can't volunteer. Maybe you don't have a business to hire somebody. But how about you can talk to your legislators, you can advocate, you can find out what those needs are and advocate on behalf of somebody and say, you know what, because parents and families are tired, you know, but go advocate for them and say, we need this, because Effingham County is ahead of every other county, even Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. And we're setting the bar high, but we can set it even higher. And I just want to thank each of y'all that's up here in every aspect of what y'all are doing, because the places that y'all work for, the people that y'all that are leading y'all are doing a fabulous job. So I just want to personally say thank y'all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're gonna wrap up this section. I've been read for it by April over there. We got one more question, and just real quick.
I was suggesting that maybe utilizing high school students so they can get credits for transportation, also college students, and give them credits for helping them.
Very good thought. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right. I'm going to turn it over back to Ms. Tina. Thank you, panelists. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed moderating with you.